Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Having Notions podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Kino, and I'm joined, as always, by my co host, Kiki. Say hello, Kiki.
Hi guys!
So, this is the pod where each of us brings a topic every week that we want to talk about, and hopefully, there'll be some crack to be had along the way. Starting this week with Kiki's topic, what have you brought for us?
So, considering the audience doesn't know a lot about us, I thought it would be fun to open with a little game. You with me?
I'm with you.
The game is called Let's Get Deep Friends Edition. Basically, the idea of the game is there's three decks of cards with three different categories. The first is Icebreaker, the second is Deep, and the third is Deeper.
So yeah, we've played this game a couple of times in our personal time, and I believe you have a video on your YouTube going into this game as well, which I guest starred in. So it's a fun game, and it's definitely good for your friends, and we'll demonstrate the more fun aspects of it right now, as you have some cards pulled up for us already, and let's just see where this goes.
Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
It's your topic, you can go first.
Okay, so as I said, there is three categories: Icebreaker, Deep, and Deeper. Each category has a set of questions, and we're going to be answering those questions. And as the categories go on, the deeper the questions get. So we're starting off with the Icebreaker questions. I pulled a card here, and it says, "What is the hottest accent to have?"
Juicy.
Ooh. Ooh, what is the hottest accent to have? See, there's just so many to choose from. It's actually kind of hard to pick just one.
I feel like there's very few accents that are like repulsive. Like you never really think about any accent as being like yuck.
Yeah. Ooh, nice accent.
I mean, a lot of people say that the Irish accent is
The sexiest
the
accent.
sexiest accent.
Not
And
to brag or anything.
as a Cork man myself, I must say that's always true, no matter what.
Yes, the Irish accent is very sexy, but I feel like that's a bit biased.
That's a bit biased, yeah.
So I'm going to pick something else. I am a bit partial to Italian accents. I do like Italian accents.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do love Australian accents. So
I
overall,
yeah.
I think I'm going to go with the Australian accent. So shout out to Australia, the country.
Any Australian viewers, there you go.
There you go. Your accent is very sexy.
I just said viewers when it should be listeners. I'm used to like talking YouTube language.
It's fine. They know what we mean. What do you think?
I guess just talking about your picks, I do think the Italian accent has that kind of reputation, at least for being kind of, foreign and sexy and stuff. But I do have to agree with you on some level about the Australian accent. I don't know about like it being especially hot or sexy, but I always love the way the Australian accent sounds. Like I watch a lot of YouTube, and I watch a lot of Chris Stanley and what's the names, Mr. Sunday Movies, and the Weekly Planet podcast, which largely inspired this podcast in a way.
Yeah.
So I do love me the Australian accent. I think it sounds really, really nice. But just to be different, and like I said, Australia I don't think is particularly the sexiest for me.
It's just very pleasing to the ear.
It is very pleasing to the ear. The way they like finish their sentences and stuff is really nice.
I love how they swear as well. As like an Irish person who swears a lot, and I will tone it down for this podcast because I've such a foul mouth. I love the swearing.
I do find that in respects, like in that kind of a way, Australia is very like us in that way. I think that's why a lot of Irish people tend to go there.
Yeah, I'd love to go. I'd love to visit Australia.
I'd love to visit. Yeah, I don't know would I live there, but
I'm terrified of the wildlife, so I don't think I'd be able to live there.
it is a fun place to be. I've always wanted to visit Australia, like Sydney or Melbourne. But anyway, back to the accents. Where was I going? Oh yeah, in terms of like sexy kind of accents, my fellow Irishmen are gonna hate me for this, but I do kind of like the English accent.
No, you betrayed our country. How could you?
I think certain parts of it anyway, like kind of broad like northern English accents are kind of like
Manchester accent.
No, I'm not a huge fan of that. Like, I think kind of more like closer to Welsh,
Mm.
like Swansea kind of accent. Like Matt Ryan, the actor. If any of you like know what Matt Ryan sounds like, that's the kind of
I don't
accent
know
I
who
really like.
anyone sounds like, so like, you lost me.
I'll play it for you later. And
Okay,
you can,
okay,
yeah.
cool. But how could you? I feel so betrayed.
Tell you what, I'll pick a different one.
Thank you.
Just
For the
of it.
sake of our country, please pick something else.
Tell you what, because the question is specifically what's the hottest accent.
Yes.
So yeah, do you know what I'm gonna say? Kelsey Grammer's Frasier voice. Because oh my god, it sounds like a violin is speaking to me. Like it's deep and it's like kind of posh but not arrogant. It's
feel
so
like
nice.
if you had that voice / accent, you would never shut the fuck up.
I would, yeah. If my voice like if I sounded like him at all, I would non-stop talk.
You would truly love the sound of your own voice, and you would not stop talking.
I would be happy to edit like any of these podcast episodes if I sounded like Kelsey Grammer. So there you go.
So that was a fun. I can't believe you betrayed us like that. I'm hurt. I have pains in my chest now. Thanks.
Tell you what, I'll change my answer to Welsh. Just
Thank
you
you.
know, because Wales is nice.
I like the Scottish accent actually.
Yeah, I think it is satisfying. It's not
Yes.
hot, but it's satisfying, to listen to.
But yeah, I'm dying on the Australian hill. Anyways, it's your turn. Pick a card.
As if we haven't like pre-plicky.
It's just to save time. We're not like rigging the game. It was genuinely just to save time.
Okay, so this is a fun one. What was the worst haircut or hairstyle you ever had?
Oh god.
So, I've had a handful of haircuts, as most men do by the time they're my age. You know, the ripe old age of 22. But you know, like especially in their teenage years, like men tend to go through a lot of different hairstyles. If you're cool like me, but the worst one, this is actually kind of tough because I've had two especially bad kind of hairstyles in my life. The first one was when I was like 13 or 14 when I tried to look like Stephen Amell from Arrow. But the problem is,
Okay.
Stephen Amell has the kind of face that is nice to look at, and I have a big square Lego man head.
Minecraft Steve looking ass.
I literally, like, you can go to my channel to see what I look like, but yeah, and you can't really tell because of the hair that I wear now, but when I was a kid, I had a big old square ass Lego head. Like, it was bad. Although, to be honest, I think there is only one hairstyle I've ever had that's worse than that, and it's when I tried to have long hair. Like, actually long.
That was a bad phase.
Yeah, I tried to grow out my hair because I've always wanted long hair, like, since I was like a kid.
Which is fair. Like, a lot of
Yeah.
men do want long hair, and honestly, it's a hard thing to actually get to that point, and it's another thing to actually, like, achieve it and make it look good.
It's so hard to make it look good because I know because I didn't.
Yeah. Like, at the time when you had it, it didn't look terrible, but it's just now when we look back on photos of you with that hair, it's like, oh, what was I thinking?
It's like, what was I thinking? And in fairness, when I was able to tie it up, it actually didn't look awful.
But no, when it was just kind
but
of
when it
hanging
was
down,
down-
it was like, oh god.
And just like, so the listener knows, it went down nearly to my shoulders. Like, that's how long I got it before I finally decided to get rid of it.
Because you got too warm as well. It was
I got
awful
very warm,
in the
yeah.
summer, so you know what, that's fair.
But yeah, that was like, yeah, I look back at this thing where I did think it looked okay at the time, but when I look back on pictures, it was definitely the right choice to chop it all off. And I guess just to kind of round out like this question for me, I think the hairstyle that I have now, although I do kind of want to go back to having it like back,
Yeah.
but I know you don't like that.
No.
So I'll leave it the way it is now, where it's kind of
Thank
just
you.
like a mop, and it's kind of just longish, like it's longer than average.
styled in a way that it looks good though.
Yeah,
See,
it's more about the way it hangs. I think make it work.
This is the advantage of having a girlfriend or a significant other. They will tell you if your hair looks bad, and they will tell you how to fix it.
Yeah, but in fairness, yeah, I think one day I will go back to having it kind of like slicked back. But
Yeah, when you're
for
like
now-
50 and grey.
for now, for now I'm pretty happy with it just kind of being like a mop.
That's fair. Okay, what's the worst hairstyle I ever had? Like, as a girl, I feel like it's pretty hard to have a bad hairstyle, but I'd say if I had to pick one, Like, it wasn't a bad haircut per se. It was like my hair was like longish, which was fine. But I was about 15, 16, and I was getting into the phase where I wanted to start dyeing my hair, and I think you could see where this is going.
Yeah, I've heard this story many times, but I'll let the listeners know.
Whatever. There's two times in particular. The first one is where I made the ends of my hair blonde, which looked fine at the time, all things considered, but looking back, it's like, oh, it did not look good at all. And then a couple months later, I was like, fuck it, I want the ends of my hair to be purple. And I was already after cutting the blonde out of my hair at this point, so we decided to bleach my hair ourselves. Which, by the way, do not do that. Do not buy cheap bleach from Boots or wherever. Do not do that, because we bleached my hair, and like it was fine, but then we put the purple over it, and my hair ended up being absolutely fried. It was so bad. Like, whenever I'd brush my hair, it would fall out. It was terrible. Like, do not do that. Like, it looked good, but then once it started to fade, it kind of went like a weird blue and silver, and it just wasn't it. So, don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, like, speaking as a man who's never gone about dyeing his hair, buying bleach out of like a chemist or a drugstore for you Americans, it sounds like a horrible idea. Honestly, using bleach for anything except cleaning sounds like a terrible idea.
Get it done professionally. And because of that, I had to dye my whole head blonde, and I was blonde for about like 3 years.
You looked okay blonde.
Excuse me. I liked my blonde hair, but then I got to a point, I was like, okay, I'm done. I don't like blonde anymore. I want my natural hair back. So I cut my hair short now, and like I had my natural hair for a while, for about like 3 weeks, and now I'm after dyeing it purple again.
Well, that's the beauty, I think, of being a woman, is that you can kind of do that a lot. Like, and I'm not saying that men can't, but generally men don't. So I think it's kind of like a kind of a gender thing that men seem to just kind of get, like, they find a haircut that looks good and then they stick with it, whereas women change their hair all the time. Just watch any like sitcom from the 90s and look at how the women's hair changes between seasons.
Or they just do what everyone did in lockdown and either grow out their hair, shave it all off, or just get a mullet. That's what the men are right now, just mullets.
One day when I feel like ranting, my topic for the week will be men's haircuts, because I have opinions. I have strong opinions on men's haircuts.
Stay tuned for that, guys. Okay, moving on. It is your turn to go first. Here we go. Pick another card.
Play a round of fuck, marry, kill. Player who pulled the card chooses the people.
Okay, the only way to get around this for it not to be mean is to make it either really stupid or really offensive. So instead of you picking the people, I'll give you the people to play.
You give me the people,
okay.
And we're gonna edit a lot of this out. So you're gonna choose, So let's just start again from reading the card.
Okay, go on. Right. Play a round of fuck, marry, kill. Player who pulled the card chooses the people. We're not doing that. I'm just going to give them the people. So, yeah. You ready?
I'm ready. Give me some people. You're going to make it really tough on me, aren't you?
Yes. Because it's the only way. Okay, let's see. Jim Carrey's Grinch.
Okay.
Who else? Homelander.
Oh, fuck.
And Peter Griffin from Family Guy.
Okay. Okay. So we're choosing between a complete sociopath, a hairy green freak, and how would you describe Homelander?
I can't without getting myself in trouble.
A horrible, Homelander. If you watch The Boys, there's simultaneously too many and not enough words to describe Homelander. So let's see. They're kind of all sociopaths when you think about it.
There's one correct answer here, I think.
Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so right off the bat, I have to kill Homelander because, I mean, what? Like, I'm not getting in that.
No,
I'm not getting in Homelander. That's not happening.
No.
And I've seen the way he treats his loved ones, and you do not want to marry.
He can love? Question mark.
I
What?
would. Well, no, he more just wants to be loved.
No.
For the record, I've seen all of the boys up until the first 3 episodes of season 4, which is like time of recording, and Kiki has watched 2 episodes. So there's a lot to come for you in terms of Homelander's feelings towards certain
I
people.
know I hate him already, and I will continue to hate him till the day I die. I am dying on that hill. I hate him so much.
Most people do, to be fair, unless you're one of those weirdos who agrees with him and just think more about the show than not all if you're one of those. But anyway, you have to kill Homelander. Like,
okay. Agreed.
yeah,
That would be my choice too. Like, just so it's fair, I will also give you my answers to this.
sure. So do you want to go person by person, or will I give all three and then
Give
you
all three, then I'll
okay.
go.
Okay, Peter Griffin. So it's basically down to like sex or marriage between Peter Griffin and the Grinch,
Yes.
which is interesting. So let's tally up what we got here. The Grinch just wants to be left alone. Steals presents. That's a red flag, I think. Stealing gifts from children. I mean, there's not much else worse for him.
Yeah.
And then you got Peter Griffin, who's a complete sociopath who kills children on like a regular basis, and just mistreats his entire family. Okay, I think I've got it.
Okay.
I will marry the Grinch.
Okay.
Because you went with Jim Carrey's Grinch,
Yes.
and by the end of that movie, he is very considerate and very nice.
Yeah, exactly. I just like gave you Jim Carrey's Grinch because like it's like live action, so you know. Then again, Peter Griffin isn't. Oh well, there's a hole in
It's
that.
fine.
Who
It's
cares?
fine. We can just go with that weird cosplayer who does him.
Oh,
all the
that
time.
guy.
Yeah. Anyway, so for the Grinch, like if we're going with by the end of the movie, like, you know, he's a pretty caring person, and
Yeah.
he's pretty nice, and he's funny, like he's
Yeah,
because he's
yeah.
Jim Carrey, and even at the start of the movie, I think he's fine. He just kind of wants to be left alone and
Yeah.
pull pranks, which is fine. And then Peter Griffin. I mean, by process of elimination, it has to have sex with Peter, but
Yeah.
I think that wouldn't be terrible as long as he doesn't like murder you by the end of the night.
Turn off all the lights and just think
just
about something else.
Just let it happen, and honestly, he wouldn't even want to do it, so I feel like there wouldn't be much anyway. Because like there's the episode where he tries to sleep with Quagmire.
Quagmire. Blah, 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 blah.
There's the episode where he tries to sleep with Quagmire and he's really not into it, so I feel like we'd be on the same page in that sense. So there you go.
Yeah.
There's my.
You're fair.
I think I have sound reasoning for all of those.
Believe it or not, I was going to say the exact same thing, and I pick same fates for all of them. Like, I'm killing Homelander, like, cold-blooded. I'd personally do it myself if I could. If it was guaranteed that I would live to tell the tale.
You can just pretend you have, like, the powers of one of those characters who
Yes.
can do that.
Unfortunate as it is, I would sleep with Peter Griffin because no.
You're not marrying Peter
No,
Griffin.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Do you know what? I probably would marry, like, early season Peter Griffin because he was just kind of a buffoon. But
he just annoys me throughout the whole show. I actually just can't stand him.
Current Peter Griffin is the worst.
Yeah, I would unfortunately sleep with Peter Griffin, just paper bag over the head, and just think about something else. And yeah, I would marry Jim Carrey's Grinch. Because he is nice by the end of the movie, and Martha May seems pretty happy, so you know what?
I would say he's not even terrible at the start of that movie. Like,
He just wants to be left alone. If anything, the people of Whoville are the assholes here.
Yeah, I mean, like, the Grinch does save Cindy Lou Who at the beginning of that movie because he does have a heart, so...
Exactly.
And,
Small
like,
one,
he
but
kind
it's there.
He does mistreat Max, but he doesn't horribly mistreat Max.
I would die for Max.
Like, he kind of mostly just humiliates Max rather than mistreats him outright.
Yeah. But yeah, he's nice by the end of the movie. So, and Martha, like I said, Martha May seems pretty chuffed.
And
so
she was like into him for the whole movie as well.
Exactly.
Like, she was mad about him. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think we're fine here.
Yeah.
And I think those are the correct answers, as I said at the start of this whole thing. Okay, my turn. Okay. What was an irrational fear you had as a kid? Right. I somehow managed to get the same card in our YouTube video as this one, and I've talked about it there, but I'll talk about it again here. There's two things I was irrationally afraid of as a kid, both involving the dark. I think the dark is pretty rational when you're a kid because, like, oh my god, like I can't see anything. That's like scary.
I'd say even as an adult, the dark is kind of.
I'm still kind of scared of the dark. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Same.
I have to sleep in complete darkness and stuff, but like put me in a dark room. We ain't doing that. We're not doing that. So yeah, the way I'm afraid of the dark now is different. It's kind of like I have a super overactive imagination. Like, let's say I'm going to the bathroom at night. I have to walk past the stairs in my parents' house, and I always make this stupid decision about like looking down the stairs into the deep dark abyss that's in front of me, and then my brain likes to go, Michael Myers is at the bottom of the stairs, Freddy Krueger is at the bottom of the stairs, fucking Freddy Fazbear from Five Nights at Freddy's at the bottom of the stairs, they're gonna run up the stairs after you. My brain likes to do that to me. It's not very nice. I get really panicked and really scared, and I just like either run into the bathroom, close the door, turn on the light, or run back to my bedroom where it's safe, where I get under the covers. It's like, okay, I'm safe now. At my big age of 21, I am still like that. So, is that normal? Probably not, but hey, that's my irrational fear. You?
I think mine will seem irrational at the beginning, but then will start to make a bit more sense as I explain it. So, I'm afraid of. Well, I was like I'm less so now, but I still get that little like rush of anxiety when it happens. I'm afraid of things that are like really big. Like,
that's what she said.
Yeah, there we go.
Sorry.
I was like dancing around saying it because I knew that the jokes would start flying. But yeah, like when I was a kid, I was like deathly afraid of anything that was like really huge. So like we're talking like giant statues of like people, and like when like a truck is like whizzing past you and stuff, and you were like really close to the truck. And I still got that one with like kind of the truck, and I think that's kind of
that is
okay.
Pretty valid, because trucks are scary anyways, and you hear
Yeah.
like horror stories about car crashes and stuff. So you know what, I think that's justified, and I think it's just built into humans in general to just fear things that are bigger than them.
Yeah, I mean, like I'll give the example of like when I walk around my like the town that I live in, I like there's a certain path that's really close to a main road, like it's a very narrow road, and lorries, like trucks go past it like all the time, and because the path and the road is so narrow, when the truck goes past you it's like really close to you. And because it's so big and so like like imposing,
Yeah,
I do get that rush of adrenaline of like fear that somehow it'll tip over and
I'm
crush
about
me.
to die. Sick.
Yeah. And like I don't get it with stuff like buildings because I think it's so wide and so like strong.
And they're
It's more-
stationary. They don't move.
Yeah.
Like I know statues don't move either, but
But like it'll scare, like the kind of thing that scares me is stuff that could crush me.
fair.
So like statues, a statue could tip over, a truck could flip over, things like that.
Yeah.
Rather than like buildings, because buildings are pretty safely structured unless like something like an earthquake happens.
Yeah, which unlikely
Which
to happen here.
Yeah, it doesn't happen in Ireland.
It does not happen here at all. We are the most we have very little weather events going on. Like yeah, we have our stormy like January, February time, but that's it. Just a bit of water. It's fine. I say as if my village where I'm from isn't underwater with the slightest bit of rain, but oh well. But yeah, no, you're definitely not alone with that fear. I think that fear is totally rational, especially when you're a small child. Everything's giant to you anyways, so
Yeah, and it obviously happens like way less now, but everyone, especially when it comes to like stuff that's like moving, like a truck. If I'm really close to a truck or a bus, I do get that a little bit of like, like what if that truck like flipped over?
he
What
gets
if
the
he
heebie-jeebities.
what if he steered out onto the
Yeah,
footpath or something?
yeah.
Which I think is like being afraid of getting hit by a truck is a pretty rational
It's
fear.
very valid.
But like when I was a kid, it used to be like paralyzing. Like,
Yeah,
it used
at
to be
least you
very
kind of
bad.
grew out of it a small bit.
Yeah.
So, that's fair. Okay, moving on. Oh, I forgot to mention, those were like the deep questions that we just answered.
It's
Oopsie
fine.
daisies. Whatever, now, moving on to the deeper question.
Deeper.
There we go. Moving on to the deeper questions. Whose turn is it to go first? I'm after forgetting because we were yapping.
You got the irrational fear one, so I guess it's me.
Okay. There we go. Here you go. Pull a card.
How do you feel about your education? Did it prepare you for real life? Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Well, no, I'm gonna keep this lighthearted because
Okay,
it could easily get depressing, and I don't want to go on a massive rant about like the education system in Ireland.
We'll save
in
that
this video where we have like
video.
where we have like 10 or 15 minutes left of this topic.
Yeah.
It deserves its own category.
Yeah.
So I'll just like touch on my own experience, but keep it lighthearted. I think school, and obviously we're both Irish, we're only speaking from an Irish perspective. We never went to any school outside of our own country, so
we went to different like primary schools, but like we went to the same like secondary school or high school if you're American, or so we kind of have the same experience, I think.
Yeah, we pretty much have the same experience as like people who've been students in Ireland. So obviously like the education system is for every single country is pretty much different, so we can only speak about our own. Are you okay?
No. I'm trying to open my chocolate milk. It's not working out. I got it. It's fine.
Well, these days I'm gonna like open a can like right next to the mic, and it's gonna be amazing. Anyway,
ASMR podcast episode. Leave a like if you want that.
So for our education system, we can only speak on our own perspective, and I think in some ways it does prepare you for real life, and in other ways it actively like puts down the real life experience by kind of especially in secondary school or high school for Americans, it kind of expects you to act a certain way rather than teaching you to act that way, because people in real life break rules all the time and do not act like model citizens and things like that, and they don't walk in a single file line up and down the street, whereas school not only tries to get you to do that but more expects it of you, which is just not the way life is going to be, and it's never going to be the way life is.
Nope.
Like school likes to teach you, like this has just been my opinion since I've been to school, it teaches you an idealistic version of society, and rather than trying to teach you to improve society to be that way, it more just expects you to act that way and expects you to go out into society acting that way, which is just not going to happen. And then they give you they punish you then for acting the way people act in actual society.
Yeah, God forbid if I don't want to sit in the same place for 6 hours, thank you very much.
Yeah, or like walking in a perfect single file line up and down a hallway. You should kind of, I feel like school, like especially the social aspect of school, should be structured maybe a little bit easier than that, to kind of get you to find that middle ground between not acting like a prick but also acting like a human being who can make mistakes and act somewhat selfishly, because we all act selfishly every single day because we have to, like it's just the way things are.
It's almost like kill or be killed, like not as dramatic as that, but
it's not as dramatic as that, but like
you gotta be an asshole sometimes.
So you have to act in your own self-interest, otherwise you're just not gonna be a person, like. So there's a lot of like explaining there. It's kind of difficult to get the thoughts out that way, since I just read that question off a card like 5 minutes ago.
I feel like if we had more time we'd be able to like talk about it better.
And I do feel like the way, like, we should probably do a whole like pod on this at some point, but also just briefly on like the actual teaching in schools.
Oh, I could write a book on that. Like I have so many issues with it.
Just like my biggest issue is the way subjects are taught in terms of like we have 3 core subjects that you have to do.
Which is Irish, English and maths in our school. And no, that's in every school here. What am I saying?
Exactly. And then everything else is optional. So I find a huge problem with that, because for one thing is every second, like weekends, because we went to the same secondary school, and the way subjects are picked is different in every secondary school across the country. Every secondary school has to do Irish, English and maths. You can get exempt from Irish if it's not like your
core.
first,
if it's not your not first language, if it's not your native language, sorry.
If it's not your native language, so if you're Polish or if your parents are from another country, you do not have to do Irish. Or if you have a learning disability, because some people can't really do languages when they have something like dyslexia. but otherwise have to do Irish.
Yep. Sucks. I have a big issue with the way Irish is taught, by the way, which is why we're not fluent.
Yeah, like, for one thing, we don't get taught Irish properly. For another thing, Irish should be optional. I think you should be given lessons in it, but I think overall it should be optional because not enough people want to speak it.
I'd love to be fluent.
And it puts down people who do want to speak it. And maths should also be taught differently. There should not be so much of an emphasis on it because not a lot of people are mathematically minded.
I have not used maths since I left.
English should also
Blah, 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 blah.
English should be broken down into three aspects the way science is. English should be broken down the way science is. Science is broken down into biology, chemistry, and physics. English should be broken down in the same way because there's not enough time to cover all aspects of teaching English. And for any of you who are from countries where English is not the native language spoken, English does not mean you're learning the English language. We all know the English language because that is the spoken language of the country. English is things like poetry and literature and things like that. There's not enough of an emphasis put on that in secondary school, so that should be broken down into three aspects, and you should be able to either do all three or you should be able to do at least one, which that's kind of hard to explain, but that's how I feel about that. Subjects like home ec should be mandatory. Everybody needs to know home economics. This is sewing, cooking, basic taking care of your own home.
Yep.
That should be mandatory, and the fact that it isn't,
I did
is
home ec,
insane.
and it actually helped me so much.
And also, not only is it optional, but very few people do it, especially men.
It's seen as a girly subject.
Every single person should do home economics because it's just one of those things. You live in your home, you should be able to take care of it.
See, the thing is, like, we went to the same secondary school, but the other secondary school in our village, they didn't have like other practical subjects like woodwork, metalwork. We had those options. They didn't, so the only practical subject that they had was music or home ec. Their home ec classes were full of both lads and girls because they didn't have the option to do woodwork, metalwork, etc., etc.
And I mean, like, and you know, to any of you, like, especially guys out there who are like, oh, I don't need home ec, there are men out there who can't cook a frozen pizza.
You know that I heard something funny actually. You know your frozen chicken nuggets and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're already partially cooked because there was men out there that would just eat them straight out of the bag.
Just let them thaw out and eat them like
Yep.
crisps.
Because they did not know how to cook them. So guys, do better. Even if you can just learn how to cook pasta or rice, it's still something. You can do so much with just those two foods alone. So.
And just to clarify, I'm speaking as a person who didn't do home economics, which I should have done.
It was pretty sick, to be fair.
Like, learning home economics was something I just did in my personal time. I learned how to cook and I learned how to clean and I learned how to do all that because I like being able to take care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
But it is something that emphasis should be put on. Anyway, we've talked for too much about this one question.
Can I just put in my input first? Did it prepare me for real life? Yes and no. Yes is like, yeah, it prepared me to sit in the same spot for 8 hours, which I can't do right now because college absolutely ruined me, as well as our 4th year in secondary school, which is basically your DOS year.
It's the year where you get to lay back and not really do any work because it's supposed to give you experience in real life rather than make you study for an exam.
It did for me anyways. But yeah, that the pandemic and college all ruined me. So am I prepared? Absolutely not. I have no idea what I'm doing. So
well, I would say then, like, college is the deep end being thrown into real life because there's nobody watching over your shoulder. There's like you do have to fend for yourself, and secondary school does not prepare you for that. You finish secondary school, you go into college, and it's completely different.
I'm thriving and drowning at the same time. It's very confusing.
Anyway, we've talked for too much on that.
Next, like, we'll do a whole episode on this if you guys want, but yeah, that's what we think about the Irish education system. Okay, last question for me. What do you consider to be red flags? Ooh, this is interesting because I don't know. It doesn't specify relationships or friendships, so I'm just going to quickly go into both. Red flags, relationship-wise, if they try to turn you against your friends and or your family, that is a major red flag. and they don't want you doing stuff without them. You need to be your own person. So, that's a severe red flag. And it's kind of the same with friendships. Like, if they don't want you having any other friends but them, that is a severe red flag. Don't just get out. It's horrible. I've been there. Don't do it. No, those are probably the biggest red flags I can think of. You?
I'm guessing that this is like more just generally rather than like red flags just upon seeing somebody. This is more just like in general.
Yeah, that's fair. Red flag. They don't know how to cook or clean. There we go. That's my red flag.
I mean, that's kind of I think that's a universal one, especially among women, that they should be able to take care of themselves.
Yeah. Not about men too.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Well,
They don't.
It's more an expectation of men that women can take care of themselves.
But like, I'm not taking care of you. I'm not cooking your dinners for you. Like, piss off.
I think my red flag, and this just goes for any relationship with any human being, is honesty and loyalty. I hate dishonesty because I faced it my entire life. Again, ironically, I don't want to get too deep when we have like 5 minutes to wrap up this topic, but I hate when people are being dishonest and taking advantage of other people when they're especially when they know that they are doing this to people.
Yeah.
It's a horrible feeling knowing that you've been tricked, or and I'm not saying like, a prank is fine, but I mean properly tricked and
like
taken advantage of.
bamboozled, like, made to believe something for like a while, and
Yeah,
it's like,
I'm made to believe something that's genuinely affecting your feelings.
Yeah.
That's for, and that goes for every relationship. Obviously, trust should be an expectation in relationships, and with friendships, you should also be able to be honest and open. And then even family relationships, honesty is a really important factor for trust and stuff.
Yeah.
So
honesty is the best policy.
Yes, it really is. And I get like not being honest to maybe protect someone's feelings or something like that. There's obviously instances, and there's a million examples where being dishonest can be the right way to go.
It's a grey area.
More often than not, always be true.
Yeah. I always try to tell the truth anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, the only, like, I don't mind white lies. It's like just little things like, it's like, keeping a surprise from someone just, because it's a surprise, like, that's fine. But yeah, little things like that is fine. Like that.
Yeah. Or if you want to maybe protect someone's feelings, obviously things like, I hate when people say if you let your kids believe in Santa Claus, it's lying to them.
Oh, that's my God.
That's letting a kid be a kid.
Oh my God, I could go on for hours about that. Like,
that's another topic in itself.
That is a topic for a segment we are going to be calling the Angry Dome, where we just rant about things that annoy us for about half an hour. So that'll be fun. I can't wait to start doing that. We have nothing prepared today, and we're running out of time, so we're going to skip over that today.
Yeah, but again, subscribe to the podcast and follow the podcast, or do whatever with the podcast if you want to hear those segments in the future.
Okay, so that wraps up my segment. Did you enjoy that?
I did. It's nice having discussions about like various topics like this. Going through a game like this is a good way to kind of talk about a variety of topics in the 45-minute kind of window.
Yeah.
Whereas mine's going to be much more focused on one thing for the whole duration.
This is just to help like you guys like get to grips on our personalities and what we think about certain things. So that's why I picked it. It's a fun little game, and it's just nice to talk about.
There's definitely other topics that I'm more excited to talk about on this podcast, but we wanted the first one to just kind of give you an insight into our personalities.
Exactly. So what have you got today for us?
Right, so what I have got, and I think this is one we could maybe do like once a year because our thoughts will change. So, are you aware of the EGOT?
The what?
So, I did tell you about this before, but I'm going to explain it again.
For the benefit of the podcast, I am pretending I don't know.
Yeah, for the listeners who don't know, the EGOT is when a single person has kind of peaked in life, basically, when it comes to artistry. It's an anagram, an acronym.
I could not tell you.
It's one of those, and it stands for Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. So the Emmy is the most prestigious award for television. The Grammy is the most prestigious award for music. The Oscar is the most prestigious for film, and the Tony is the most prestigious award for theatre. Now, unfortunately, we've gone to see a few plays and musicals in our time, but not enough to really discuss this. So I'm going to replace the T in EGOT with G for gaming.
EGOG.
So we're going to call it the EGOG.
Yup. It sounds like something out of Star Wars.
And so that explains the premise of what we're saying. So basically, I want us to discuss our own personal EGOGs. So we can kind of, because there's a lot of ways to go about this. We could either discuss our favorites, or we could discuss what we think is maybe the best example of each medium. So I'm going to leave yours up to you, but I think for mine, I'm going to go with what is not necessarily my favorite, because that changes all the time, but I'm going to say what I think might be the best example of each of these mediums.
Very fair. Okay, so hit us. What is it?
So beginning with E for Emmy. So this is covering television. My favorite TV show, it does kind of bounce around a lot, but I think the best example of a television show is Breaking Bad. And
you're definitely not alone with that. That is probably universally
that is the obvious answer.
On.
Yeah, if you go to any like top 10 TV shows of all time, Breaking Bad is usually in the top 3. It's usually next to Game of Thrones for best TV show. But like I said, Breaking Bad is not even my like favorite show. Like there's a couple of shows that I prefer to watch over Breaking Bad, but I think as an example of a television show that you can pretty much show it to anybody and they will like it, or at least recognize that it's a good, like a really well made and well put together show. It's got pretty much everything that you would want from a TV show in it. It's got, you know, a little bit of violence, a little bit of sex, it's got romance, it's got comedy, it's got a lot of comedy.
Yeah.
It's got really good drama, great acting, great writing, great direction, music, the soundtrack for Breaking Bad is amazing, and it's just kind of everything about it is really, really great. Like there's not a bad aspect of the show, and it's also a show that's very easy for people to get into, because other shows that I would consider to be my favorite, like say Daredevil, is kind of like a show where you kind of do need to be interested in superheroes and comic books for that. But when it comes to Breaking Bad, pretty much anybody can watch it and enjoy it.
That's fair. I mean, I personally did not like it that much. I mean, we finished season 1.
Yeah, you gave it a fair shot.
Yeah, I tried. I really wanted to like it because when we went on holidays last year, it was the 2 of us and 2 of our friends. All the 3 of them loved Breaking Bad, and I was just kind of there like, okay, I haven't seen any of it.
You enjoyed the memes though.
I enjoyed the memes very much, but you know, it's just not my kind of show, which I think is a valid, you know, thing.
It absolutely is, and that's what I'm saying is, while I do think it's the best example of a TV show, I say that in the way that I think even people who don't particularly enjoy it can still recognize its greatness.
I know it's really good, like what you explained about like how the colors work in it, like the costuming, and I find that so interesting.
I'll do like an entire podcast episode on color theory at some point.
But one thing I have a bone to pick with, and like I love bringing this up to like, you know, the film bros that will die on the hill for Breaking Bad, is the Mexico scenes. It's far too yellow. You guys want to give it Twilight for being too blue. Have you seen the Mexico scenes in Breaking Bad? Enough said.
Mexico is a yellow place.
Portable Mexico. Whoa.
Yeah, Joe. If you do want to, like, you know, kind of nitpick maybe an aspect of the show that's not so great, the yellow tint on Mexico is pretty insane. But I don't think that necessarily diminishes the show.
No, it doesn't. I just like pointing that out and like watching people get annoyed, because I love annoying people in that way. All in good spirit. I'm not mean. I just like, you know, getting under people's skin. It's fun. Yeah, that's very fair.
So do you want me to move on to the next thing, or do you want to go?
No, you just do all yours and I'll do mine. I need time to think because I'm still struggling to think of an Emmy.
Okay, when it comes to Grammy, I'm not very musically minded.
No, I think out of the 2 of us, I'm the musical person.
Yeah, I like my music taste. The way I like to explain my music taste is that I've got a playlist that jumps from Elton John to Katy Perry to Johnny Cash to AC/DC. Like
when worlds collide. That is like honestly, I get whiplash when we're in the car together and I'm listening to his playlist. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, and I never like stick with one particularly like artist or album or anything like that. Whereas seemingly a lot of people do kind of latch on to one artist and listens to like everything from them, and like,
He
you know,
means me. I do that.
well, no, I mean everybody. Like everybody gets excited for like the new person's
Whatever.
album.
You're excited for
and
Katy
things like-
Perry's new album, though. That's exciting.
I mean, I am, but it's more just because I find it funny how much I like Katy Perry as compared to like the other things that I listen to.
Yeah, for context, he was driving one of our buddies to the cinema, and like Katy Perry came on in his playlist, and our friend thought I put that there, and I was like, I wasn't there. I was like, and you told me after. I was like, no, that was Brendan. He just
Yeah.
really likes Katy Perry.
I just find it funny how much I do like Katy Perry. Like, so that's more that. It's like, it's not like I'm actually like a diehard fan of Katy
He's
Perry.
not. He doesn't stan Katy Perry that
Yeah,
hard.
like I haven't listened. Like I've probably listened to about 10% of everything she's made, but I just really like that 10%.
Fair.
So
goes
that's
hard.
that's what I mean when I talk about music. Although I do enjoy music. Like my area of expertise when it comes to music is movie music. I listen to movie soundtracks all the time, and I'm able to like recognize certain aspects of them and things like that. I love analyzing movie scores, but when it comes to actual like, you know, music basically, like, you know, your classic like your pop songs and your rock songs and things like that, I haven't a clue. But I do still have an answer of what I think is the best example of a song.
Yeah.
And again, not like far from my favorite song, but I think the best written song of all time is Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Fair enough. Like, you actually had me on the edge of my seat just there. I was like, oh my god, what is he going to say?
I do think that the best written song is Bohemian Rhapsody. I think it combines so many elements of music throughout history, basically.
Okay.
It jumps so much. I love the 6-minute runtime. I love that it's all written by Freddie Mercury.
He was gone too soon. I miss him so much.
I've not seen a single person not enjoy Bohemian Rhapsody, at least.
Yeah, that's true.
It's an extremely like well written song, and it does tell a story. I think there's loads of depth to Bohemian Rhapsody as a song, so that is what I think is probably the best example of a song that's ever been made.
It's just an absolute banger. Like, honestly, you can put that song on anywhere and everyone will just be bopping away and like screaming, Mama!
Yeah, like
you know?
Everybody's heard it, like, you know, everybody knows it, and
Yeah.
I think
Like, even if you don't think you've heard it, you have heard it.
Yeah, it's played in like movie trailers, it's played over ads, it's played on the radio all the time. It's immensely popular.
Can I tell you something embarrassing? I didn't know who Queen were for the longest time, but like I still heard all their songs, but I didn't know who Queen were. That's embarrassing. Like, I was like 16, by the way. I now know who they are, obviously, but like I didn't know who they were until I was like 16, 17.
I mean, that happened to me a lot as well. Like I just knew songs and didn't know people, because again, I don't really care that much about music.
But I feel like that's embarrassing because like everyone knows Queen.
Well, I didn't know Queen until I was like 15, 16.
Okay, I feel slightly better about myself. Okay, moving on.
Yeah. Anyway, so Oscar. Now this one's particularly difficult for me because
He's the movie guy.
yeah, like I did 3 years of film school. I am entering into like the film industry for work and stuff, and I've been just studying film like as a medium since I was about 16, and I've loved it since I was born. So
He found his thing. That's his thing.
I'll never be able to narrow down what the best example of a film is, because I could go with a film like fucking Paddington 2, which
Yes,
is just like
absolutely.
a crowd pleaser and a film that can like appeal to literally everybody. But I don't know, is that the best example of a film? Because you could also then go with like, you know, a film like The Human Condition, which is a Japanese movie,
Yeah.
but that's not one that's enjoyed by people, but it is like a marvel of like filmmaking and storytelling. And then you could go with like the best examples of each genres. Film is such a wide spectrum, especially for me who watches like, you know, tries to get into every single aspect of that spectrum. So narrowing it down for me is like an impossible task.
It's difficult.
And I think that like my answer could be different like every single day.
Hence why we're doing this yearly.
Yeah, this is why I kind of want to bring this back every once in a while. So I'm gonna go with an answer right now that will forever change, but I think right now what I think is one of the best examples of a film is The Shawshank Redemption, directed by Frank Darabont.
Fair enough. It is a really good movie.
It's an extremely good movie. Everybody can enjoy it. It's not too violent, but it's still got a little bit of that. It's not too sexual, but it's still got a little bit of that.
Yeah.
It's like a great like character piece. It's got great storytelling, set design. The music is amazing. It's great for like just getting you to know these characters, and you feel like you're a part of this like friendship. It's a great journey. It's not too long, but it's still long enough. And yeah, I think, and it is in my top 5 favorite films. Admittedly, like it's always tied for number 1 of my favorite films, but I do genuinely think that The Shawshank Redemption is one of the best examples of a film. And it's another one of those films that everybody has seen and everybody can agree is a really great movie.
It is a pretty sick movie, to be fair. I don't know why, but for some reason I thought your Oscar thing was going to be Mr. Bean's Holiday, because you said recently, like, this is like a really good example of how a movie should be made. Like, it's really good because the pacing's great.
I mean,
it's funny, etc., etc.
That is true, but I'm willing to bet that there are some people out there who probably would get sick of Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So I guess I'll move on to my final pick, and once again, like film and television is like one of those things where like I'm really interested in that, so I'm able to talk about that more like at length.
Then there's me who's like, it's good.
But when it comes to music and video games, I'm much more inept.
I'm the opposite. I couldn't talk about TV or movies for the life of me, but like I can talk to you like for like an hour about a singular Mario game, and what was the other one? Music. Yeah, and I can talk to you for like another 2 hours about an album that I really like. Like, I wrote 2 college essays on Ariana Grande and her albums. Yes, you heard me correctly, and I passed those with flying colors.
So there you go. So when it comes to me, like music or movies and television, could talk about them all day. I've seen like many examples of each of those. Music, I haven't a clue what I'm talking about. I can just kind of give my opinion. And then when it comes to games as well, I'm not a gamer. I don't know anything about game design. I do not play games endlessly, and I also just find gamers to be an extremely hostile environment to when I hear people talk about video games.
You're getting progressively louder, so be careful.
I just stay away from that whole like area. I play the games that I enjoy.
Yep.
And I have my own thoughts on them, and I generally just keep them to myself or my friends, and even then only some of my friends, because I also know people who are massive gamers who like I've been made fun of for the games that I like before from people who are self-described gamers who
I'll start taking names if they're not careful,
who just play like 6 hours of like fucking Rainbow Six Siege or Fortnite or something like that. Yeah, like I've played plenty of games and I've played a lot of the popular ones, but I am nowhere near the level of like a gamer.
Neither am I. Like, you know, I like say like, oh my god, I'm a gamer. I'm not really. I like the certain games that I like, and you know, I don't like, you know, like online gaming's fun, but like, you know, I wouldn't dare turn on my microphone because being a girl, it's brutal.
Yeah, I've heard many a story about how difficult it is.
So I'm not doing that. So yeah, I just play the games that I like. Like, you know, I fell like, you know, victim to like, oh, you're a girl, you definitely just like playing The Sims and Animal Crossing. I'm like, I do like those games, but I play other things too, you know. It doesn't make me less of a gamer just because I like The Sims and Animal Crossing, you know, just because I'm a girl. But whatever. What is your pick? We're getting sidetracked.
Yeah, and you know, just as a last like bit of clarification for that, because I know that this is going to be a perfect display of my kind of opinions and knowledge about gaming.
I feel like I know where you're going.
It's also going to piss off gamers.
Yay, my favorite.
My 2 favorite game series are the Batman Arkham games, which is pretty acceptable because they're very well made, and the Assassin's Creed series. Outside of that, I play very few other kinds of games. Like, outside of that, it's like GTA 5 and one of the Call of Duty games. I don't play Elden Ring. I tried God of War and got bored. I tried The Witcher 3 and got bored. For me, it's pretty much just Assassin's Creed and Batman Arkham on rotation.
At least you've played more than me. I haven't even tried those games, so you know.
Well, they're very different. Like, you know, you're more on the side of like Fortnite and Minecraft and those kinds of ones. Like,
yeah, I like Telltale games though.
Telltale games are fun, yeah. Anyway, so back to my, you know, the EGOG.
Yeah.
What I think is the best example of a video game, and I know I'm wrong. Okay, before you say anything, I know I'm wrong. Okay. This is from my perspective of what I think is like a really good example of a video game. And I'm gonna go with 2 picks for this actually, from the 2 series that I mentioned. I think 2 of like the best examples of like character action games, I think they're called, is Assassin's Creed 2
Yeah.
and Batman Arkham Asylum.
Okay.
For somewhat different reasons.
Sure.
Starting with Batman Arkham Asylum, for one thing, it like invented an entire like style of gaming, which is like the free flow combat, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
It like, you know, revolutionized basically like, you know, action games and stuff like that. But outside of even that, it's really well voice acted. It's pretty well written, but the triumph of Batman Arkham Asylum is atmosphere. And even the other Arkham games do not capture the atmosphere that Arkham Asylum does.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you are playing, like, you know, fucking Dracula. Like, you are so immersed in this, like, very small open world. So, I think Batman Arkham Asylum is a great school in, you know, atmosphere in games. It really immerses you into it. And for Assassin's Creed 2, this is more as a game in general. It's got a fantastic story, a charismatic and very likable main character that you want to play as. It's an extremely satisfying game to play through the story of. The side missions are not egregious but are very fun, and it's really fun like upgrading all your gear and your stuff. The like environment is great. I love running around Florence and parkouring through Florence, Italy. I really want to go to Florence, the actual place, because of Assassin's Creed 2. And you also get to explore Venice and Forlì and a little bit of Rome, although you get to Rome in the next game after that.
In conclusion, Brennan really wants to go to Italy.
I do really want to go to Italy. I've been once, but I went to like Lake Garda, which is not like Italy. Like, you know, it's kind of more of a holiday destination.
I want to
rather
go to
than
Lake Como. I think that is that where like they filmed Star Wars.
I don't know.
I think so. It was one of the lakes in Italy, anyways. I want to go there because it's Naboo.
Oh yeah, I know the
Yeah,
place you're on about.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. We should do that.
That's where I want to go.
Anyway, so I find that just like generally as a video game, I think Assassin's Creed 2 is exactly what I would be looking for in every kind of a video game. And I've saved this for last because I know that this is one that you agree with me on like heavily.
Yeah.
Because you haven't played any of the Assassin's Creeds.
No.
But I know that you love this particular aspect of this game. Jesper Kid is the big dick hero of video game scores. Like, Jesper Kid is incredible. The music that he writes for all the Assassin's Creed games that he's done is incredible. Ezio's Family is genuinely one of the best like score tracks of any piece of media ever, and easily one of the best of video games. It's absolutely incredible, and all of his music for Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, Revelations. He did Valhalla as well, which is like the best part about Valhalla is the score. And I think he did Origins as well, or part of it anyway. He like coded it with somebody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like Jesper Kid is an incredible musician.
I feel like if it was up to you, I'd walk up to up the aisle on our wedding day to Ezio's Family.
It is.
I feel like if it was up to you entirely, that's what you would pick.
It's such a beautiful track. I absolutely love it. And you know what? If you think that like Assassin's Creed was never a good series of games, that like is just like
he thinks you're wrong.
Brain rot. You can just go fuck yourself because they're fun, they're enjoyable. The lore is stupid but really interesting.
It's like FNAF. It's just fuck crazy now.
They're fun as hell games, and they've all got great music. To be fair.
Fair. I feel like I'd love the Assassin's Creed games if it wasn't any of the weird like future shit, because that annoys me. If it was just set at the time like in ancient Rome or like ancient Greece or like, you know, wherever those games are set like per game, I'd love that so much more. But it's just the fact it's like, oh, it's like a simulation or whatever. I'm like, that's stupid. No.
Yeah, no, nobody is really able to nobody agrees on how the modern day should be, and also I don't think like the Assassin's Creed games, aside from a couple of them, have really been able to kind of get it right.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe the first game does it okay, and Brotherhood I think does it well, where you can go into the modern day and do stuff there, but you're not forced to.
That's good.
So you can just like play through the entirety of Brotherhood as Ezio and forget about the modern day except for the beginning and the ending. That
would definitely be me if I was playing that game.
I also like the way Unity handles it, which basically just removes like gameplay sections and you just get a cutscene like every few hours explaining what's happening in the modern day, and that's kind of it.
Fair.
I think that's okay. I think the way it's done now is stupid, where it just boots you out of the Animus and makes you do stupid stuff as like Layla Hassan, who's a character that nobody gives a fuck about. Anyway, there'll be entire pods dedicated just to Assassin's Creed as well.
I think from what you guys have heard just now, I think you guys can tell how much he loves these games.
I do enjoy Assassin's Creed, and I enjoy talking about Assassin's Creed. But I do think that Assassin's Creed 2 is a gold standard of video games.
Fair.
Again, just my opinion.
I don't agree, but whatever, that's fine. To be fair, we're like...
You've not played them, though.
No, we haven't. And we're very different sides of the gaming spectrum. So, you know what? Our opinions are not going to be the same. Okay, so is it my turn?
It is your turn. What is your EGOG?
So, first E is Emmy, right?
Television.
Right, oh god. I was
You
trying
can just
to...
go with your favourite. Like, it doesn't have to be...
See, I'm not a very, like, big TV kind of gal. I'm more of a, like, sit down watching YouTube while I eat kind of person. I'm not a big TV person. Like, most TV shows I watch are with you, and yeah, so this is very difficult for me. Okay, I'm just gonna go for my favorites just to make this a lot easier.
Yeah, like, the way I kind of tried to go for, because again, Assassin's Creed 2 is not my favorite video game.
But you think it's the best example.
Yeah, like, the way I went of it is, like, it's the best example, and it's the one that I think, like, is the most universal. But you can just go with your favorites.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with my favorites because, you know, they're my favorites, so
also,
naturally they are the best.
Yeah, and it's my topic, so I've thought about it more than you have.
Yeah,
so.
no, I'm still struggling to think of a TV show. Oh my god. What is my favorite TV show? Like,
you can just go with one that you're watching at the moment as well.
I'm watching Bridgerton at the moment, and I think, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go with Bridgerton. I'm just finishing season 1, but that is my Emmy. I love the costuming. I love how it's just like, if any of you have seen the TV show Gossip Girl, it's basically just that in the 1800s. I'm loving, like, the ball gowns, the massive parties, like the modern pop songs done in violins. For the soundtrack. It's amazing. I love it so much, but it's so dumb. And not to mention the men are also very fine. So naturally it's great.
And you know, the Irish representation with Nicola Collin is
Woo!
very nice to see.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I've catched a bit of Bridgerton because my mum watches it as well, and yeah, it's a pretty well costumed show, and I like the music from it and stuff like that.
I feel like if you actually sat down and watched it, you might like it.
I might like it. I did watch like the first season of The Crown, and I thought it was okay.
You might like Bridgerton.
Yeah.
Bridgerton is a bit lighter than The Crown, I will say that much.
Mm.
Okay, so that's my Emmy. I think it's fair. I'm not a big TV person, like I said, so, you know, don't come for me or my opinions. What's next?
Grammy. So
Grammy.
What do you think? And you can just go, like, again, I just went with what do I think is the best song, but you can go with artists. I feel like because Grammys typically go to artists. I
More
don't
like the Scammies.
Yeah, sure.
I don't like the Grammys.
I don't know anything about the Grammys, so I'm just gonna butt out basically.
Fair enough.
This is just a way to I used EGOT as a way to just like go into what is our favorite examples of each thing.
Okay, so you know what I'm going to say. You already know what I'm about to say because you know me really well.
I do, but they don't.
And any one of our friends that's listening right now, you know damn well what I'm about to say. Anyways, my Grammy goes to Miss Ariana Grande because especially her recent album Eternal Sunshine, I fully believe that it is her best work to date. I religiously listen to all her stuff. Like, she is my top artist on Spotify always. Like, I checked, like a memory on my Snapchat came up. It's like, your like Spotify like listener streak or whatever. I listened to 890 hours of Ariana Grande. So, you know, some might say it's a problem. I don't think so. I just really like her. So my Grammy goes to Eternal Sunshine. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a beautiful album through and through. Her vocals are amazing. Stream it, give it a listen. You might like it, and if not, oh well, her vocals are just spectacular. I can't wait till she tours again. I can't wait to see her live. I can't wait to spend all my money on those tickets.
I'm looking forward to her renditions of the songs from Wicked.
Oh my god, that's gonna be so good.
I feel like she's gonna smash popular.
Oh yeah, like she saw the original Broadway cast when she was 10 years old, and she loved it since then. She was mentored by the one who played Glinda.
Oh wow. That's
Like, she's
yeah, very
friends
impressive.
with her, so, you know, she is going to absolutely eat up that role. Anyways, that is my Grammy. What is next?
The Oscar. So
Oh, God.
what is your favorite film?
Oh, Jesus Christ. See, my favorite movie changes all the time. I can never pick just a movie. Like, part of me right now wants to go with something really stupid that would make the film bros mad, but I'm not going to do that. Ooh, what is my favorite movie? I could say Barbie because that is the obvious choice for me, but I'm just not feeling that right now. Like, I love the movie, but you know, I'm just not feeling it.
It's so soon after Barbie came out as well. Like
Yeah.
I know it was a year ago, but it was only a year ago.
I lived 5 lifetimes since then. So, trying to think. BRB checking my letterbox. What are my top four? Okay, let's see. Okay, my top four are Barbie, the live action Cinderella remake, Mean Girls, and How to Train Your Dragon. All very good movies, all of them. Love them to bits. But if one of them has to get an Oscar, I think it would have to be How to Train Your Dragon.
I was sure you were going to go for Mean Girls.
Nope. Through you.
Explain that. Why
Okay.
why is How to Train Your Dragon such a great example?
Okay, it's an animated movie, which, you know, different genre of movie, which, you know, is fine.
I was close to picking an animated movie for mine because I think, again, from that idea of like the best example of a film should be something that kids can watch as well, but I kind of went in a different direction.
Yeah. But anyways, How to Train Your Dragon, it's a beautiful looking movie.
It is.
It is a stunning movie. The story is absolutely amazing. It touches on, like, you know, animal cruelty, this, that, and the other. The dragons look amazing. The soundtrack is, I don't even have the words to describe soundtrack. Like,
Probably one of the best scores for an animated movie.
definitely. Like, I don't know what. Was it John Powell? John Powell
Yep.
was smoking when he did this. Can I have some? Is all I'm gonna ask. It's like, it just reminds me of that one image of their man at the piano and the piano's on fire. That's
Yeah.
that's what I think of whenever I listen to Test Drive, Forbidden Friendship, like the Romantic Flight. It's just so good. Like, that trilogy is just amazing. Like the third movie, yes, there's a little dip of quality, but the first two are amazing. And I'm dying on that hill. And if you're on Letterboxd and you give it anything below 3.5, what is wrong with you?
No, I don't see how you can not enjoy How to Train Your Dragon. At least the first one, anyway. I think that the second and third you can find plenty of flaws with, but the first movie is excellent. Like, it's in every single aspect. It's just such an enjoyable and fun and easy to watch movie.
Yeah, like, I remember that movie came out back in 2010. Yes, 2010, you heard me right, we're all dying. Like, I remember when it came out, I fell in love with that movie when I saw it for the first time, and honestly, that love has never left. Like, all through my teenage years, I just loved that entire franchise. Like, I've watched all the TV shows that went along with it, except for, like, the new one, the Nine Realms, or whatever the hell it's called. I have a giant toothless plushie that you gave me. Best thing I own. It's just amazing. Like, even if you haven't seen it in years, sit down, give it a watch. It's a lovely movie to watch. It just makes you feel good.
It does. It's a very good movie, and it's very funny as well. It's a very comedic film.
Yes, exactly. So the Grammy goes to that.
I think DreamWorks has always been on top of the game when it comes to comedy.
It's Disney's edgy cousin.
Yeah, I think you can make arguments for Disney versus DreamWorks, but I think
I'm dying on DreamWorks hill.
DreamWorks is easily the funnier.
Like, there was fear for a while that I would become a Disney adult. I had friends come out and say to me, it's like, we genuinely thought you would be a Disney adult. Like, we were actually afraid of that, and I was like, no. Like, I loved Disney, but I just prefer DreamWorks. It's just so much better. Like, a lot of my favorite animated movies are DreamWorks.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I think that DreamWorks in general makes better films than Disney. Not to devalue, I think like Disney has made fantastic films before.
New Disney, less so.
Yeah, and I think Pixar, which is now part of Disney as well, they make some absolutely fantastic films. But DreamWorks, I think, has more consistent quality.
Definitely. So yeah, that's my Grammy anyways, and
the last one,
not Grammy, sorry, Oscar. Oh my god, I can't speak.
And the last one is your gaming award. What kind of game do you think is the shit?
Okay, I know hardcore gamers would be like, oh my god, she's only picking this because, like, she's a girl, blah blah blah. But I've said this in a YouTube video before. I genuinely think this is probably one of the most perfect games. It has nostalgia, which plays into it as well, but I just think this game was absolutely incredible, and there's just no words to describe it. The game that I am giving, there's
a gaming award, I think.
Yeah,
like
just this gaming awards. The game that gets it, in my opinion, is Super Mario Galaxy from way back in 2007. I think it was 2007 when it was released. This game was the first 3D Mario game that I've ever played, and the game itself, like How to Train Your Dragon, it's absolutely fucking stunning. Like, even on the Wii quality way back then, the game looked phenomenal. And it got remastered for the Switch back in 2020, and I got it, and just seeing it like remastered with like better graphics, oh my god, I actually wanted to weep. The game itself is just so pretty looking. The soundtrack is heavenly. Like, whenever I listen to it, I actually want to ascend. It's amazing. The story is amazing. Like, it could be argued that Mario games, like, oh, they're not great for story, but like this one in particular, it had like, you have the main story, but then there's also like a side story, like characters' backstories. There's like everything in this game, and it's just, I actually want to weep thinking about it. Oh my god, I love it so much. So I think that game deserves the gaming award. And I know some Nintendo fans that would be like, oh, but Mario Galaxy 2 is better, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, I'm one of those people that will that stan the first Mario Galaxy till the day I die. It deserves that award, and yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I've played like half of that game, I think, and like I don't know shit about Mario games. Like, I've played like Mario Kart and Super Mario Bros. And like a couple of them, but I haven't played nearly as many of them as you have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played like halfway through Mario Galaxy, and it's definitely a lot of fun. It looks great, it sounds great, and it's a very fun one to play. So I totally I definitely understand why you're giving that your like gaming award. I think I think for Nintendo games, that's pretty up there with some of the best.
Yeah, definitely. It's just an amazing game. I actually want to replay it now. I'm looking at my Switch right now. I'm like, ooh, I'll see you once we stop recording. But yeah, no, that definitely takes the cake. And all I'm gonna say is, when are we getting Galaxy 3? When is Galaxy 2 getting remastered for the Switch? Please, Nintendo. This is my plea. Can we have it? Please. But yeah, that's it. That's it for me anyways.
So yeah, this brings us to the end of the podcast.
Woo!
So, if you have any comments on what we've discussed today, whether it be our deep questions or our favorite examples of various mediums, leave a comment if the service supports comments. Give it a subscribe or a follow or whatever you do on these platforms. And
as you can tell, we thought this intro out very clearly.
yeah, we're still working out some of the bugs, but if you enjoyed the podcast, please do give a follow and a subscribe. We hope to do this about every week or so, and we will be back next week with more topics to have the crack with. So with that being said, I've been Mr. Kino.
I've been Kiki Nova.
And
we will see you next week. Bye.